Okay, so let's dive in here. You've got the spreadsheet open and you should see a couple different tables, one for income and one for expenses. You're going to start entering information that applies to you. Not all of this may apply. Sometimes you might even need to add a row or change the labeling on some of this. But you'll also see to the right of the table, there are some graphs, and those graphs will automatically be created for you as you're entering information. So don't touch those cells, don't worry about the graphs. They're going to be created automatically. Let's get started adding some information. Let's say I'm a single individual and I have a net monthly pay of $5,000. What I mean by net is that it's your paycheck after taxes, any insurance that you pay, and any savings to a 401k. If you're saving to just a regular savings account through a direct deposit in addition to a checking account, add those two numbers together. Make sure your net pay includes any easily accessible savings account. A 401k is not easily accessible. It's a retirement account. You're penalized if you access it. So I don't want to include that in my net income. Only dollars that I can use for expenses or anything easily in any given month. So your checking and your savings account, those net numbers, let's put them here. If you have a part-time income of any kind, you can also add that net number here, anything after taxes. If you're collecting investment income or Social Security income, something that you collect on a regular basis that enters into your checking account that you use to live on per month. If you're making investment income and it stays in a brokerage account somewhere, don't include that. That's not something you live on. So maybe you have rental property or dividends that you access on a monthly or quarterly basis. You can include that here. If you live with someone or if you're married, include their income as well. So net monthly pay 2 would be their income. The total line will automatically generate for you. It's has a formula in there to sum it all up. So moving on to expenses. The first section of expenses, you'll see that I've labeled must-have expenses. These are things that you must pay every month. You just can't get away from it. You're going to be penalized somehow, either without electricity or you're going to take a credit hit or something if you don't pay these expenses. So separate them, because this total you're going to be using to know how much you should have in an emergency fund. So the typical rule is 3 to 6 months of monthly expenses in an emergency fund, and these must-have expenses are what I would consider monthly expenses. Your mortgage or your rent there at the top, anything related to your car payments, insurance, gasoline, any tolls or Uber type expenses. Then you've got groceries and things related to your house like water and electric. Going further, if you own a house, if you might pay homeowners association fees, any insurance that you pay separate from work like life insurance or disability. Your minimum credit card payments, that's the must-have payment that you have to make. So just the minimums there. Any student loans or other loans payments that you're making. Any routine monthly doctor visits. Here you could say, what's my annual average, and then divide it by 12. Same with child care and pet care. If you only need child care 6 months of the year or 9 months of the year, you could average it per month. And same with pet care. If you go to one annual visit, what does that cost on a monthly basis? Professional services, this would be something like, an accountant that you pay once a year to do your taxes, or a financial advisor or something like that. Average that out per month as well. The next section is going to be for your flexible expenses, things that you could stop tomorrow, not someone who is going to penalize you a great deal if you miss the payment. So something like an extra credit card payment, anything beyond the minimum, hobbies or club memberships, gym memberships, something like dry cleaning or cleaning services, lawn care, getting your nails done, shopping, eating out. Those are things that if something happened to you, you would not need to have those things. So you'll see there also the total is going to automatically populate for you. And then there's going to be a total expenses, which is going to add both those flexible and the must-have expenses together. Finally, you're going to get your excess income or your discretionary income. This is the income minus the expenses total. And for some people, they do a zero-based budget, which means they allocate every penny to something within their budget. If you do that, this should be zero. And your savings row here under flexible expenses might have a total there. If you're not sure what you're going to allocate to savings yet, you may have a zero in savings right now, and what's left over is going to show here in the discretionary portion. So don't worry about if it's zero, and don't worry about if you have extra and haven't made it zero. It's totally up to you if you want a zero-based budget or not. What I would like you to do is track for 6 months. So if this is your first month, great. You're just going to have excess income, and then next month, you're going to put this month's total of excess income there on the cell that says previous excess income month 1, because you're just starting your tracking. And so every month you're going to add to that table there, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, and then the 6th month will be your current excess income. That's just so you can start tracking how this differs every month. You want to know how consistent you're being. If you're really going outrageous on gifts one month, of course, with the holiday season, you're going to have some more of an extreme amount there. But if you can average it out and consistently put that away, you really shouldn't have an out-of-pocket expense that's too out of the ordinary every month. So the graph underneath this table is called discretionary income trend, and that's what's going to help you visualize how you're spending. Are you being relatively consistent? Do you think you have everything here on the table, or is there something that is going to stand out from one time to another that you need to plan for? That graphic will automatically generate for you as you enter your previous month's excess income dollars. You do have to manually enter those previous month totals there. So to the right of the full table, you're going to see a debt to net income comparison. And what's that's going to do? That's a popular ratio. Most banks use a gross gross income amount. Here we're just doing net because it's a conservative number. So if you can see that your debt to income ratio, or the percentage of income that goes to debt, is below 30%, you're considered to be in relatively good shape. Obviously, we want our debt to zero, but if you have a mortgage, there's going to be something there. The most important thing, as you know, is keeping any retail-related debt gone, which is the credit cards, and your student loans as quickly as possible. The next graphic is going to be savings to net income comparison, and this is just so you are mindful of how much you're saving every month. You would like this percentage to be as high as possible, obviously, because the fewer expenses you have, the higher the number can be. And it just is a check to make sure that you're mindfully saving every month. The next graphic is going to be a pie chart that divides all these expenses into categories. So you can kind of see where you might have a bulk of your spending going. Is it mostly to the house? Is it mostly to personal care? If most of your expenses, or a good majority of them, are going to personal care, then you might need to tweak some things, and you might need to decide where you're going to sacrifice in order to continue to have the personal care spending that you want. So that's just a graphical, a picture for you to get a snapshot. If you use an electronic or an app to track your spending, that's great. This spreadsheet can still be applied there. If you want to enter the values in the table, you can. Otherwise, you can go straight to the graphics and enter the values there. For debt or net income, you see the cells. You can override the formulas and create the chart on your own based on what the app has told you your totals are. It's pretty easy to manipulate those graphs if you are Excel savvy and feel like doing that. But anyway, I wanted to post this for you to access for free so that you can easily download and start tracking your spending. Expect in the first month or so you might forget something. It's not a big deal. Just go back and edit the row as you need to label something more specific to you, or if you want to delete some of these rows and they just really won't ever apply to you, that's fine. You can delete them. The formulas that are in the total row will automatically update, so no worries there. Feel free to ask me any questions. Put a comment here on the blog, or shoot me an email at analyst@kittoday.com. I'm happy to help, and let me know if this works for you. Let me know what's not working. What would you like to see? I'm happy to see about adjusting the page for you if you need it to. All right, thanks so much, and I hope you start tracking soon. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.